Everybody. Good morning, Norm. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, man. I'm doing all right. Hopefully you as well and everybody else in the room.
Hold on a sec. There we go. Now hopefully I can hear you.
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I'm getting an echo. One sec. Oh, I know why. There we go. Okay. Woo. Guys, I gotta tell you, this morning show, I give credit to Norm and Carlos doing this every morning. It's more work than you'd think. All right. Welcome to a Thursday, first Thursday of January the 6th. And we had quite an interesting day yesterday. As always, I'll rely on you guys to let me know if everything's going well on YouTube. Hopefully it's all clear and you can hear everyone. Let us know if that's not the case. Welcome to everybody in the Bear Bulls trading room. But as I said, yesterday was quite a day. It started off a little choppy, then we got some big moves up. I thought we were just going to sort of trend at the high, and then we had a confluence, I'll say, of news with rumors that there may be decisions to disallow some Chinese stocks from trading on the U.S. market. Thought that was the major news, and realized that there was some, we'll say, unrest happening, both in the U.S., and I think it was the Georgia state capitol, as well as, of course, in Washington, D.C. That caused things to move down sharply and then sort of chop for the rest of the day. You can see that reflected in the overall SPY. Some of the things that we were tracking in the room through yesterday, Tesla was one that sort of exemplifies that to me. Look at the chop at the open, nice move up, trended sideways sort of at the highs, and then we had this big drop right back down to the lows of the day before it chopped out at the end of the day. It's you can see a lot of stocks that follow the same pattern. One that didn't was UNH. I had it on my list because it was the acquirer, if you remember, of CHNG, and it just steadily moved up yesterday throughout the day. So nice steady trade. I find that one hard to trade, but if you got in at the open and just held, you wouldn't have been disappointed for a long throughout the day yesterday. FCell, well, it was one that I did trade and had some good opportunity on as I managed to catch the peak here and trade it down. I'm really surprised to see it up so much this morning. But look at our gappers. We got a ton of stuff moving up in the pre-market, which we'll let Norm tell us about in a second. Last, I'll just look at are some of the pot stocks. We were looking at these because they were gapping up yesterday on the rumor of the Democrats, perhaps, if they get control of the Senate, I guess. I don't know. I always get those confused. Anyways, but that they would.
If they take over the Senate, they've had the House. So
right.
With the votes of the two senators flipping in Georgia, that's where that is.
Right. So that was the anticipation that would cause benefit to the pot stocks because one of their platform promises was to legalize it nationally. And they gapped up, but then yesterday you can see there was just a lot of chop. I think ACB was probably the best of them if you were looking to catch a move, but it might not have been the move you expected, as the biggest move was this move down in the afternoon. But for the most part, after the gap, they chopped, which we often see. So with that, let's take a look at the day for today, and maybe Norm, you can tell us sort of what you're seeing out in the markets on this fine morning.
Yeah, buddy. So, as you said, obviously, there were some big things that took place in the Capitol yesterday with a few 100,000 people protesting in D.C., and then a number of them breaching into the Capitol, causing some mayhem, some other problems. So that caused markets to go a little crazy. All that having been said, it was still an up day. So that tells you what the markets are looking at right now. We did just have jobless claims coming in for last week. Weekly jobless claims, 787,000 versus 815,000 estimated. A little bit better than expected. Haven't seen the continuing. They came in a little late. That's why I don't have it. Don't have the continuing claims number, but So a little bit better than expected. The same kind of undercurrent that we had yesterday. The stocks that could benefit most from Democrat-controlled bodies of the chambers of the U.S. Congress are up. That's energy, weed, as you mentioned. Of course, we've got still blockchain and slash Bitcoin stuff that's on a tear, as it has been with Bitcoin's rise. And yeah, so we'll dig through this. I got to say, I've not looked at every single one of these because I didn't wake up at midnight to do so. But most of them all kind of go along the same storylines here. We do have a little bit of earnings. That's BBBY specifically this morning on the gap down list. They missed, so we'll hit that one for sure. But
yeah, I noticed we've had earnings that are starting today, so we're getting some. We'll talk about those as they come up. I don't know why, but as you guys can see, my apologies again this morning. I'm struggling with some of my technology. My cameras are all frozen, so.
I will say, so that's not really earnings starting today. That is a very late third quarter report.
Is it? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I thought we were starting into our next cycle.
Well, their fiscal actually ends in November for third quarter, so it's kind of weird. But technically, it's third quarter. So
I see. So we're still at the. This is the very tail end of the last one, then.
Yeah, kind of.
All right. Well, hopefully then we will get some good reporting.
We got what? I think banks come up in the next week or so.
Okay.
And that'll kick off.
Yeah, they're usually at the front end of the earnings. So as I was saying, guys, my apologies that I said all my cameras are frozen. Unfortunately, it's not too bad an image of you, Norm, and I couldn't even get my camera to display. So I'll just be not Carlos today. So let's take a look. So let me clear my list. And I know a few of you, by the way, were asking for me to increase the size of the watch list. I apologize for that. I can't, unfortunately, make that any bigger. So I'll have to read out what we've got, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along. This one here, actually, one sec. Maybe I can make this slightly larger. Although every time I do that, it really, really screws things up. You know what? Let me just... there. Slightly larger font there that maybe you can read on at least my watch list. All right. So let's go to some stuff to watch. All right. I wasn't able to select my watch list. Okay. NCTY is the first thing, but I think this is actually a low float. I tried to look up some news, but Norm, I couldn't see any real news on it. I'm not sure that I'm that interested, being that it seems to be a low float, but were you able to find anything on this? Have I lost Norm? Can you guys still hear me?
Sorry, that was me.
Okay.
I as you said, I don't see anything fresh. I just see something from a few days ago. I think it's an online gaming. It's a gaming video game company in China. I think they dipped their toe into Bitcoin mining, if I'm not mistaken. And with Bitcoin surging, that might be what their catalyst is. Other than that, I haven't seen anything really fresh. So.
The good old, all you have to do is say you're either doing, you're in cryptocurrency, or you're starting an EV company, and you can get a boost on your stock. In this case, it's pushed them up 46%. So, all right, well, the pre-market action looks okay. They've got 2 million shares traded, but that's about their float. Again, as a low float, it's not something I normally follow. Looking at the daily, they're way up above. This probably is all-time high for them. Well, no, look at this. Look how high they've spiked in the past. That right there, guys, is like these spikes show me a stock that I probably don't want to trade too much. Anything that can jump, from $25 to $81 in a day, that's a danger sign. So, all right, well, NCTY, if you're interested, then go for it. I will probably not pay attention. So CBAT is the next one, and the big gainers here, 5.6 million shares, a lot of shares size, up 37%. I know we've looked at this in the past, but I can't remember for the life of me anything about the company. What is their
Yeah,
23 million?
they build lithium batteries, EV play China. Need I say more?
Okay, another play in that field. Look at we got some weird price action right around the 8 o'clock mark. So again, another one that I'm not really that excited about. So we'll keep going until we find something I might actually want to put on my watch list. DDD. Now here's one that I did see some brief news. Norm, I think they actually had earnings again. This might be some late earnings, but it reported. I saw a revenue report, anyways.
What I have listed is they last reported earnings on November 5th. They did complete a sale of a business unit, I believe. They gave some preliminary results for Q4, and I think they also got a downgrade this morning, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you're right. What I saw was a preliminary sales report where their estimate was at 100 and we'll say 39 million. Now they're estimating between 170 and 470. So that's a huge up.
Quite a spread.
Yeah, it's quite a spread. If you can't
Hey,
tell,
Peter, when I trade today, I'm either going to lose $1,000 or I'm going to make 100,000. Somewhere in between that.
somewhere in between that. Yeah, I'd be worried about any company management that says we're not quite sure if we're going to make X or 3 times X. Like that would be a warning sign to me. However,
well,
the
and
stock is up.
you're talking about a time frame that's already passed as well, right? You're not predicting into the future, which forecasting into the future is can be difficult, as you know, your previous career and mine as well. But I think you should have a better handle than that for a time period that's already passed. Just me.
I would hope so. But anyways, somebody thinks this is good news because they're pushing the stock up again. It's another offering. What is their float? 120 million. So they're not a low float. Pre-market action was looking good. It's sort of flattened out now. I might leave it here to set some levels. We got to find something that is good for trading here. So let's move on to Plug. Plug often can give good trading opportunities. It's had a good run. Look at the daily. It's going well, up 21.9%. Being that we've seen other energy companies moving the last couple of days, I assume this is just on general news, Norm, unless you've got something specific on Plug.
They got an investment from, I don't know if it was private equity or something, but they got an infusion from a South Korean company, $1.5 billion into them, and of course alternative energy play as well. So a little bit of both.
So that one's not bad. I'm going to leave Plug on my list. I may like that. I'm just going to get rid of these two since I will not follow them. Sun W, another energy. Is this a solar company? Their name is Sunworks, so I assume so.
That is correct.
Pre-market doesn't look great to my eye for the trading. Their float 16 million, so it's on the lower side. If I was going to trade energy, I might just stick with Plug Power rather than Sun W, but I'll leave it here for now. Mara is next on our list. If I can select it, Mara, however you want to say that. Wow, it's had a run, especially the last couple of days. It's up again. 17% on 3 million shares volume. Pre-market doesn't look too bad. Again, Norm, I'm just going to assume on some of these, that this is just continuation of, in this case, it's Bitcoin, and as Bitcoin surges, what is Bitcoin at today? Let's check that out for the morning
Unless
here.
I saw something 38. Okay.
Yeah, 38,650. So it's again pushing the highs. Look at Bitcoin over the last month. It's really gone up, doubled in price from around 18,000 to the 38 that it's at now. So we're definitely going to see movement in any Bitcoin or cryptocurrency related stock. FCell was one that said that I traded yesterday with Eamon in the room. Eamon's one of our moderators who actually runs our trade review. He'll be doing one today at noon for all of our members. And he called out a reversal on FCell, which I was able to take and hold for a number of hours. Got a great move at it. I think I had a 5-cent risk and got a $1.40 move, so I was really happy with that. It's a moving again. Yeah, it was pretty good. It's moving again this morning on 2.5 million shares volume, 14% to the upside, but I'm seeing it sort of just leak downwards in the pre-market, not the type of direction that I normally like. However, it is moving, so pre-market doesn't look fantastic though if I look at these candles. So anyways, I'll put it on here. Guys, we just have so much to cover. Look at how many things are gapping up in these markets overall. I'm going to have to start skipping over some stuff. EBON we looked at, I don't think it was yesterday. I think it was Monday we looked at that, and I didn't like it then. And I'm going to skip over unless there's something there that you like. Oh, my good old friend DXC. DXC, that's a personal stock I will always avoid because I used to work for them, or I used to work for the precursor company before they became DXC. It's not doing anything as expected, so nothing good going on there. QS is on our list. It's been moving the last few days. I assume this is just a continuation. 1 million shares, up 12%. Pre-market looks flat, but steady price action. Last one I'm going to look at here is Tilray because it was moving yesterday on the upside, TLRY. Price action pre-market does not look good at all. It's not sitting, I like on the daily though, it's sitting at the high end of this range. I think yesterday we set this level here at $12.14. And as you can see, it came up and touched on that sort of really early pre-market, couldn't quite get there in the last hour or two, so there might be an option for it to push up through that, but again, pre-market doesn't look great, so I think I'll probably only have this on my list if it shows up on in our Trade Ideas scanners throughout the day. Normally, speak up if there's something you want me to look on the up. I'll just move to the big ones that are gapping down. And we'll go there. ADXN. I'm having trouble speaking this morning. All right, it's the biggest gapper at the moment, although we did have some that were gapping down even more earlier. They seem to have moved around a bit. Anyways, ADXN, I don't even have a float on this, so I'm not sure if this is a low float or not, but pre-market action looks really bad. Only 100,000 shares. I'm not going to spend any time on it. UONE. Now, I know this has come up on our list fairly, regularly, or at least occasionally. I never have liked the price action. I don't think I've ever traded it. Look at the daily. This is absolutely horrid.
Low flow.
No, it's Urban One. Is this the black-owned business? I remember that it pops up occasionally.
It is.
Right, so I remember
it is. It's a group of radio stations.
Okay.
Primarily, they have some other assets, but over the last year, after the George Floyd protests and everything, we had companies coming out saying they were putting chunks of money into black-owned businesses. This one, and what was the other one that used to pop all the time? It was a bank, wasn't it? It was a bank. Yeah, it was a bank, and I can't remember what it was. CARV, that's right, CARV.
There we go.
Those two always used to pop whenever news of a investment came out.
Yeah, thanks, Urban Squirrel.
So I haven't heard. Yeah, thank you. I haven't heard anything this morning, but maybe it's out there.
Yeah,
of course, it's 4 million shares. It doesn't take a lot to move it.
No, and you can see, guys, I mean, these are the periods where, again, it came into the news and you're getting volume. Today's another day with a volume increase. However, we're not seeing huge price increases, and it hasn't traded that well. So it's not something that I will put on my list for day trading. All right, so that leads us to BBBY, which, as Norm had mentioned, had some late earnings from the last quarter. Apparently not good, because they're down 13% on 2 million shares volume.
Yeah, they missed on top and bottom lines. I have not had a chance to dig into the report this morning, but obviously no bueno. As we mentioned, whenever this comes up, they have a massive short float. Short float isn't as high as it had once been, but nevertheless, it's 76%, quite high, gapping down 13-ish% this morning.
Yeah, look at this. Float, I'm showing at 119 million roughly with a short interest at almost 73 million. So, yeah, big short float being reported in DAS there. So, something to keep an eye on. Pre-market action doesn't look great. It's not looking like a trading stock. Again, BBBY in my experience has been one where it's a very rare day where it will be worth trading. Maybe, you keep an eye on it, but probably only from a secondary list perspective. All right, then we got a couple of things that are gapping down just a few percent with a few 100,000 shares. Again, nothing that I'm going to take any eyeball to. So this is where I will turn to Norm if you've got anything. And guys, start posting them into YouTube or into the room if you have something that's on your list that you'd like us to take a look at.
I wish I did, man, but let's go to the room and see what everybody else has.
I'm seeing in YouTube somebody's asking us to look at Riot. Riot's, fan favorite, but I just avoid it. I think it's probably because of, I remember, the days where it was just going crazy back. Let's see, if we go back, here we go, back on the daily chart, late 2017, when you had this type of crazy stuff, and the thing was doubling and tripling every day. Went from $4 to $40 on like no news, like it was just all speculation. So now we're back up at $20. I guess if it trades well, I shouldn't really care. I don't know what it's been trading like the last few days, but the pre-market actually looks okay. Let's see here. What is it?
Yeah, I mean it's been trading. I mean, if it's your deal, it's been trading fairly well. But this is, like you said, this is one that I avoid. It was kind of a joke of a stock a couple of years ago. I can't remember what they used to do, and then they said they were getting into blockchain, and it blew up and all that. So I stay away from it. I just have a bias on it that I can't get over.
Yeah, well, I'll leave it on the list. Maybe we'll set a level, but I'll tell you now, I am not going to be trading it. So, I see in the room Neo, of course. Always got to keep an eyeball on Neo. It's pre-market. Yeah, it doesn't look great for Neo, but as always, right? 2 million shares. It's up 5%, so it's a consistent mover. I made a mistake trying to trade Neo yesterday. I got jealous of everybody making money on it, and I made a dumb trade and gave some money to the market. So, but that's my problem, not yours. Neo is a potential mover. What else do I see people? I'm going to go back here because I know I've missed a ton. BNGO. As Brian would say, bingo was its name-o. Well, it had the big spike up back at, when was this? This was, the first trading day of the year here on the 4th, and then it sort of leaked off the last couple of days. Pre-market doesn't look good at all. I don't like these little candles. This is usually a sign of like just algo trading, computers trading. So I don't know if this is going to be in play today. I mean, yes, it has 3 million shares, but pre-market is not looking attractive to me at all on BNGO.
I don't know that it's really in play. I mean, it has been day after day. I sometimes we cling on to those a little bit longer than we should. I don't know. Maybe it is, but
yeah. All right. Twitter is another one that's getting some mention. I did see it on our gappers list. Is gapping down 2.4% on, well, only 170,000 shares. Twitter pre-market does not look great. I don't know if there's some news specifically on Twitter, but it not looking like something I would particularly pay attention to unless it comes up on my...
maybe I missed something. I didn't see anything specific other than the fact, and I mean something normal. That I think it might be down on the fact that they blocked the president's Twitter account.
Oh,
and,
I did.
Any additional scrutiny that might bring them.
I did hear that news last night, so you're right. That may be a news catalyst. Again, right now I'm not seeing it necessarily in the stock price. Might be worth keeping an eye on if you're interested in, waiting for that news or seeing if it gets moving. But in my experience, Twitter can be you can spend a lot of time watching it without a lot of return. So I'll probably look to other things. But that being said, our list is looking a little stark because I'm not loving the stuff that I'm seeing here. So maybe it'll make a comeback for me, but we'll see. BLNK is the last one I see people mentioning. Pre-market is only looking okay. I don't like when you got some gaps with sort of flat candles here. It has 340,000 shares with a gap of 2.7%, but I think this is it's sort of normal action over the last little while. The daily not looking hugely attractive to me. Looks like it's sort of moving into a range here. So, unless there's a catalyst, BLNK will probably not make my list. All right, so I think that's what we've got. I know I've missed some that a few of you have mentioned. My apologies for that. We'll come back at them. I see a couple of different people mentioning JPM. I'll just do this as a last one, actually, since it's in a different sector than what we've looked at. Banking, we did say, well, maybe it was going to make some move yesterday. I didn't see anything great on the movement of any of the banks that I put on my list, including JPM, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and Citigroup. So none of those gave me anything great as a day trader. JP Morgan, again, yes, it's got a little bit of volume. It's gapping up, but this pre-market does not look attractive. So nothing much going on there for me. With that, let's do as we always do. We'll go to some announcements. I get to clear my throat here, and 1 second. And Norm, I should set you up so you get the right announcements. Let's you start at the beginning.
All right, so Thor's fixed risk hotkey is posted in the technology section of the elite part of the website, how to set up and use fixed risk hotkeys. And then we had Dr. Gary Dayton. We have Dr. Gary Dayton. That is next week. Sorry, there's a school bus outside making a lot of noise. He's going to be talking about traders' common mental blind spots, how hidden habits decision-making affect trading. So that'll be next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. On the psychology front, last night we had Dr. Reed, and I apologize. There was a late change to this, and it was not his trend following webinar. He actually did one on stops and minding stops, sometimes why we don't, and how to get over that hurdle if you encounter it. I have encountered that in my trading career early on. Very important webinar. So if you get a chance, check it out. If you didn't last night, check it out. It should be posted a little bit later today in the psychology section. Next week, we've got Creda talking about using mental imagery to help you increase your trading performance. Please note the special time on that on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, since she is in Europe, to accommodate her time zone. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day and trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day. It should have entries and exits on it, then mark it up with some color describing why you took the trade, the strategy, everything else. Post it on Twitter, tagging @VariableTraders, @MikeB_BBT, and @NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. We will announce the winner each day on the closing bell show and on Twitter, and then the team will vote over the weekend for every trade of the day, for the trade of the week that will be announced on Monday, also both in the closing bell show and on Twitter. If you are watching on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, you'd like to give it a try, you can use the promo code PREMARKET24. That'll give you a discount off the intro membership. The intro membership is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the chat room. Does not auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership. It just goes away after that 7-day period. And it also includes Carlos's onboarding class each and every Monday night, which I believe there will be one next week. He indicated he would be back and back at it on Monday. So we'll see, but I anticipate there will be one.
Let's hope he is back to be able to lead that class. That would be great. Thanks, Norm. All right, guys, let's go through and set levels as we always do. We'll start up here with our triple D, DDD. From a daily perspective, so I'm not seeing anything at the 8 a.m. Normally, as you know, I like to set the 8 a.m. candle. Not seeing one here of note on DDD. I will set a daily level down at where this previous high was at 1277. So in case it drops, if it goes higher, I have to go back in time here. Back to 2018. Oh, there's an area which it might be gapping into, so I will set a level at the bottom of this gap here around 1536. And then I'll just interesting that it had it gapped up, had a 3 months almost in this area, and then it dropped back down below it. So anyways, we'll see if it gets up and plays in here. I'm not sure that I'm actually going to be trading this, but you never know. With a day like today, I've got a suspicion that we're going to find a lot of the old standards are going to start moving. I'm actually surprised the market is gapping up with the news that was happening in the US, but these markets don't tend to, civil unrest, markets go up. Pandemic, markets go up, right? Like it just doesn't seem to matter. The money printers continue and the markets continue to run. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, so there's a couple levels on DDD. Plug. Let's go back to present day. Plug is sitting well up above its range. We had set a level here at 37.50 to take a look at, I think yesterday when we were looking at this, or sometime this week. It's well up above that, already at around $43. I can see that I've got my 8 a.m. candle here, which I'm going to set levels at top and bottom, so I can keep an eye on that to see if it comes into play. If I'm going to look for daily levels, going back in time here, is this all-time high on Plug? Looks like it. Wow. Yeah. No. Not all-time high, but I have to go back a long way. I have to go back 16 years here to 2003, 2004 to get anything up above where this is currently playing. So, you know what? I'm not even sure if I'm going to bother. Let me just come to the end of this range here. I'm trying to slowly move to the end of this range to see if there's anything significant that I can mark. You know what? I'm just going to mark a level around here at $48 because that's sort of where when it was coming down out of this area. Whoops, if I can hit the right button. What have I done? Sorry, guys. There we go. I can keep an eye on, but other than that, Plug will be as is. So we will keep an eye on that. Sun W, I had unless again, still don't love it, but I do have an 8 a.m. range. I notice it's right at the bottom of that range, so let me set this right here. And then on the daily, well, it did have a spike high right here. What is this high? $8 exactly. So let's set this level at $8, and that'll certainly be an area to watch today. If it manages to get up to that level, then we might get a huge run at it. I noticed we had another candle back. When was this? September 24th. It actually managed to get up to $8.50. So I'll put a level there to keep an eye on that as well. We'll see what happens on Sun W. MARA, again, one of our blockchains. It's funny that this is one that we keep trading because it's sort of a, it's more of a SPAC, a special purpose investment vehicle. It's not an actual, well, I shouldn't say it's not an actual company, but it's not a, you know, it's more of a holding place for funds rather than a company that produces something. However, it tends to trade well, and there might be opportunity. So I will set the 8 a.m. range here like I do because I see my big range candle at 8 o'clock. As for the daily, we got nothing. We're up above sort of all those levels at all-time highs right at $20. So this could be of interest as we're breaking back above $20 as we speak to where it was earlier this morning. So we'll see if that gets us some action. FCEL, again, had a good trade for me yesterday. Doesn't necessarily mean it'll be in play today, but again, I'll set the 8 a.m. range candle. As for the daily, I like the fact that it's pushing up above this area. It might run if if we don't get any news or we get some positive news. FCEL could run today, just moving back on the daily. And as we saw, I think I flipped to this earlier, it certainly was much, much higher in the past. Got to go back a couple of years. But if this thing gets running, I mean, we can see that based on history, it's got a lot of room to move up. So it could very well move up quite significantly. I'm just going to look and see, is this a gap or no? It's just played in this range before. It did hit a gap, though. This is 2017. I can see it had a gap drop from about $19 down to $13. But it's played within that gap quite a bit since then. So FCEL, I'll just leave those levels and we'll see what happens to it. QS was the next on our list. It's currently sitting at about $70. Again, 8 a.m. candle. I will mark those. And then on the daily, I already have a level at 84, which I still like. And then I got the previous day's highs and lows, which do me well on that. BBBY, geez, I almost said too many B's. BBBY. Wow, look at the range on this for today. It's engulfed the last few days that have been moving up. And then I assume on the anticipation of good earnings, which it did not have, it's now gapping down. 8 a.m. range candle may not be in play by the time this stock opens. We'll see, but we are playing in the middle of that candle, so we'll see what happens. We definitely have a low here from a few days ago, which I will set to keep an eye on. Interestingly, the low here was at 1760. Let's see, this one was 1770, but it's actually within the range of that 8 a.m. candle. So that's a pretty broad 8 a.m. candle to keep an eye on. So BBBY may be one that's of interest. Again, I don't like what it's doing pre-market, but it may move once the market opens. Riot blockchain, I said I'd keep it on for you guys to set a level. Here we've got pre-market highs and lows. I set this the wrong color. Let me just change the color on that. Using my 8 a.m. candle, which I don't really know is in play for Riot, but it made one, so we'll see what happens. Again, it's at the high of this range, no other daily levels to set on it. NEO, well, guys, NEO is always on our list. It's been chopping sort of in a range. I mean, this could be, it had a relatively big range yesterday. Right now it's in the middle of that, so this could end up being an inside day for NEO, which means it's going to play within the range that it set yesterday. We'll see. The highs and lows of the previous few days are already set for me. That gives me a good daily range. I will set again my 8 a.m. candle, since I see one here, wide wick candle. And the last one I added while Norm was doing the news, I was looking around and we did have earnings that came out on Walgreens? Yeah, Walgreen Boots, right? WBA. It is on I'm on my list because sometimes it'll play well, sometimes it plays really poorly. So, but I like sort of what the daily is doing. If you look at the daily here, we're coming up to a level where it set a high here. 44.87 was a previous daily high, and we are sort of moving right up to that level here. So I think it might be worth keeping an eye on it to see what happens. Pre-market, it was up as high as $45, and including that 8 a.m. candle. So, to my mind, this is something that could very well move above that range, being that the earnings, they did beat their estimates, and we had some healthcare stocks that were moving yesterday. So we'll see what happens with it. I may put this on my secondary list to keep an eye on. All right, so that's all the stuff I had to take a look at. I'll do one last check of our friends on YouTube, as well as in the room. I see somebody pointing out Roku, or as John would say, Roku. Roku, let's see. Let's move. Pre-market action does not look great at all. On a daily, it doesn't look bad. There's an area here. If it can break over sort of the 362 level, it's got about $10 to get there. But then it'll be above the daily, which I assume on this is all-time high. It looks like it. That would, sort of be a strong signal this thing is ready to move up. I don't know if today is going to be the day for that, but it is above the range it had been setting for the last 2 weeks. So yeah, Roku may be an opportunity. Tesla is something else that people are mentioning, TSLA. Well, yeah, it's it's certainly been playing at all-time highs, and I see it's in an all-time high area again this morning, gapping up 2%, just under a million shares. So having less than a million shares at this point of the morning is fairly low for Tesla. So I don't know whether it's going to be in play, but if you like trading Tesla, then it's worth putting on your list. I don't have any news on it to tell me, it's specifically going to be in play, but, Tesla can move almost every day. As some of our moderators note, because Tiffany, for example, will play this on a regular basis and do so successfully. So let me just look at the room. And NEO, we already talked about. mRNA is another standby that people are looking at. Pre-market doesn't look great. Daily, it's sort of sitting in a range. Nothing big going on there. So let me take a look at what our moderators are saying that they are watching for today. I'll just bring this into the corner of my screen. And Thor's been providing us some analysis recently. I can't even fit it all on my screen at one time. So Thor's watch list consists of Plug, QS, BBBY, and actually, now that I think about it, Thor, I think, traded BBBY quite successfully last time it was on our list, so I can understand why he might want to be watching that. And on secondary, he's got DKNG, AMD, and WBA. I feel like that's a sympathy play there, because AMD, I looked at it a little earlier, was not doing much of anything. Pretty choppy yesterday, but there might be some opportunity. I will always be watching it. On Tiffany's list, well, she had to defy me, right? No Tesla. So she's watching Plug and QS. And under secondary, she's watching FCEL. Eamon is watching LI, Riot, and Baba. We didn't actually look at LI or Baba, but they may be worth taking a peek at. Secondary is BTBT, GHIV, and Tesla. Wow, he's got a bunch of stuff that I hadn't even looked at. GHIV sounds like a low float, but I don't know what it is. So maybe we'll take a look at that as well. Mike B, as always, looking at the break of high of day scanner, Roku and SQ specifically, he's going to keep an eye on. Andrew's got his list in with NEO. No surprise there. Andrew's been an expert at trading NEO. Plug, BBBY, CBAT, which we did take a look at a little earlier this morning. Maybe it's gotten better because I didn't like the look of it at the time. And then Tesla. Brian, last but not least here, Plug, LI, ACB, Billy, and he's not sure about BBBY, so, but it is on a number of people's listening. Does not have a low float trade for fun this morning, so I'm not sure what that means to me, but normally he's got one.
Yeah, normally he does have one. I don't really see any out there either. I will say one thing here is a couple of people are mentioning a spike in NEO and the volume. That is nothing but a couple of block trades that went through. And it's fairly meaningless other than the fact that it completely messes up our charts because of the ridiculous wicks that threw in on that candle.
Yeah, look at that, right? So now you've got a candle with a $3 range when the stock price was actually trading within, sort of a 60-cent range. So as Norm says, yeah, fairly meaningless. If you look, guys, at 400,000 shares, that could easily, as Norm said, just be one or two block trades that just brought this candle to this, obviously a settlement of something, because it's way out of range for where the stock was trading. So, all right, I'm going to take a quick look at GHIV because I'm curious. Wow, I'm not sure why this is on Eamon's list. I'm sure he's got a reason for it. He always does. 200,000 shares. Pre-market doesn't look great, but he'll be watching that. What was the other one that somebody was looking at that I hadn't been keeping an eye on? Oh, Baba, right. Let's take a peek at Baba because it had some news yesterday, or the rumor was that it specifically was going to be disallowed from trading on the U.S. markets. Again, whether that comes to pass or not, is unknown. However, the stock price did react yesterday. Right now, it's gapping up slightly on 780,000 shares. I'm not seeing anything special about it pre-market, but it could be a mover today. All right, so for me personally, I'm probably going to keep an eye on BBBY, WBA, obviously AMD, because I always watch it. And then I'll see what happens on the gappers and what gets called out in our room. I find that our members call out some great opportunities, and it helps me narrow things down once the bell rings. So that'll be my plan for this morning. With that, we're going to head into our open with Brian and Andrew, who trade live through the open for all of our members in the room. To everybody on YouTube, give us a thumbs up if you like what you heard. Thanks so much for being with us. As we've been mentioning all week, Carlos, who normally leads this, will be back next week. Norm is here as always and making sure things go smoothly. So thanks so much, Norm. And we will talk to you guys this afternoon if you're live with me through the close. If not, tomorrow.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.